The battlefield had grown silent. The smoke of burning metal still drifted through the air. Human soldier Daniel moved carefully through the ruins. His armor was scratched, his weapon ready. His orders were simple: search the alien outpost and clear it. Yet he could feel something heavy in the air, a tension that made every step dangerous. He pushed open a broken steel door. The chamber inside was large, with shattered lights and strange alien symbols on the walls. The silence was broken only by the sound of dripping water and the soft hum of damaged machines. Daniel tightened his grip on his weapon. He expected another ambush, but then he froze. Standing at the far side of the room was a figure, a tall, alien warrior woman in black armor that shimmered with crimson patterns. Her skin glowed faintly red under the flickering light. Her long hair, silver with a strange metallic sheen, flowed over her armored shoulders. Her eyes locked on him instantly, sharp and fierce. Daniel's heart raced. He had fought aliens before, but never one like this. She was not only fearsome, she was striking. Her presence filled the room. Her spear was in her hand, her posture ready to kill. He knew one wrong move would end his life. The alien warrior spoke in a firm voice, her words translated by the small device on his belt. "Human trespasser, you dare enter our sacred ground." Her tone was cold, sharp like a blade. Daniel raised his hands slightly, trying not to provoke her. "I'm not here to start a fight," he said, his voice calm but steady. His eyes studied her carefully. She was a soldier of high rank, maybe even a commander. He could see it in the way she stood, the way she controlled her anger. She stepped closer, her armor clicking softly with each move. Her gaze never left his face. She was ready to strike. Daniel knew he had seconds to act. He needed to say something, something that might distract her. Without thinking, the words slipped out. "You know," he said with a faint grin, "for a fearsome warrior, you have a really nice butt." The room went silent. The words echoed in his own ears, and for a moment he wondered if he had just signed his death sentence. The alien warrior froze. Her eyes widened. Her cheeks flushed a darker red. She blinked once, stunned by the unexpected compliment. For a heartbeat, Daniel thought it worked, but then, SMCK. Her armored hand struck across his face. The force knocked his head to the side, pain flaring through his jaw. He staggered but did not fall. The warrior glared at him, her chest rising and falling sharply. Her voice shook with anger. "How dare you speak to me like that?" Yet despite her fury, the red flush on her cheeks remained. Daniel rubbed his jaw, still smirking. "Guess I deserved that," he muttered. His eyes sparkled with mischief. He could see the confusion in her face, anger mixed with something else she could not hide. She tightened her grip on her spear, pointing it at his chest. "Give me one reason not to end you now," she demanded. Her voice was steady again, but her eyes betrayed her. Her heart was unsettled. Daniel raised both hands in surrender. "Because if you kill me, you'll never hear what I might say next." His tone was light, teasing, but his body was ready to move if she attacked. The alien warrior's lips tightened. Her blush deepened. She turned her head slightly as if to hide it. No human had ever spoken to her in such a way. No enemy had ever dared to look at her with anything but fear. Yet this one smiled even after a slap. She hated his boldness, yet part of her was unsettled by it. Why did his words sting more than his presence? Why did her heart beat faster every time his eyes met hers? Daniel stayed calm, keeping his tone casual. "Look, I'm not your enemy here," he said. "But I'll admit, you're not like anyone I've met before." His words were soft this time, honest. The warrior's spear trembled slightly in her grip. For the first time, silence stretched between them, not as enemies, but as something else. The tension in the room shifted. Suspense hung in the air. Neither moved, neither blinked. Both understood that the next words or actions would decide whether this encounter ended in blood, or something far more dangerous. And as the firelight from outside flickered through the broken walls, Daniel realized the truth. He had just met an alien warrior who was more than fearsome. She was unpredictable, powerful, and for reasons he did not yet understand, she blushed. At his words, that alone made her the most dangerous opponent he had ever faced. The alien warrior kept her spear pointed at Daniel's chest. Her eyes burned with fury, but her face still carried the faint trace of a blush. She hated that he had seen it, hated that he had caused it. In her culture, warriors never showed weakness, not even in a moment of surprise, yet here she stood, her heartbeat quickening because of one careless human compliment. Daniel stayed still, his hands raised halfway. He did not move toward his weapon. His smirk faded into a steady, calm expression. He understood she was dangerous, but he also sensed something beneath her anger. Her reaction was not only rage. There was something else hidden in it, and that made him curious. The warrior's grip tightened on her spear. She wanted to strike again, to silence his bold mouth. Yet something inside her hesitated. Why had she flushed at his words? Why did her hand tremble when she looked at him? She stepped back slightly. Trying to regain control, her voice came out sharp. "You speak without respect, human. Do you value your life so little?" Daniel tilted his head. "On the contrary," he said. "I value it enough to try anything to keep it." He gave a half smile. "Even if that means saying what's on my mind." Her jaw clenched. His words confused her. Humans were supposed to be desperate, weak, begging for mercy, yet this one stood with steady eyes, fearless. His calmness irritated her, and yet she admired it. She circled him slowly, her spear still ready. "Your kind are strange," she muttered. "You face death and still you jest." Daniel followed her movements carefully. "Maybe that's why we survive," he replied. "Because even in the face of death, we don't forget how to laugh." The warrior stopped behind him, her eyes narrowed. She studied him silently. The scars on his armor, the steady way he breathed, the way his shoulders did not sag under fear. He was unlike the humans she had fought before. He carried himself like a soldier who had already accepted death, but chose to defy it anyway. Her chest tightened, an unfamiliar feeling creeping into her thoughts. She lowered her spear slightly but did not drop it. "What do you truly want here?" she asked. Her tone was quieter now, less harsh. Daniel turned his head toward her voice. "I want to live," he said honestly. "But more than that, I want to understand." The alien warrior frowned. "Understand what?" He met her glowing eyes. "You." Her breath caught for a moment. She had expected lies, expected him to say escape or victory or survival, but his answer disarmed her. Her face flushed again before she could stop it. Quickly, she looked away, raising her spear higher to hide her reaction. "You play a dangerous game, human," she said. Daniel shrugged lightly. "Maybe, but so do you." His calmness unsettled her further. Minutes passed in tense silence. The warrior did not attack. Daniel did not move. Both studied each other, like predators unsure if they were enemies or something else. Every glance held unspoken words. Every breath carried questions. Finally, the warrior stepped back, lowering her spear completely. "You are my prisoner now," she declared, her voice firm again, though her eyes betrayed the storm inside. "You will follow me, and you will not speak unless I permit it." Daniel raised his brows. "So I'm special enough to keep alive," he teased. Her blush returned instantly. "Do not test me," she snapped, but her voice was less convincing than before. She turned sharply and motioned for him to follow. As they walked through the ruined halls of the alien outpost, Daniel kept his eyes on her, not only because she was his captor, but because he could not look away. Her movements were graceful yet powerful. Her armor reflected the dim light like molten fire. She carried herself with pride. But the faint blush still lingered on her cheeks whenever his gaze caught hers. The human soldier's curiosity grew stronger. He had faced countless enemies before, but never one like her. She was fearsome, proud, and deadly, yet she was also vulnerable in ways she tried to hide. That vulnerability made her more dangerous and more fascinating. She, too, found her thoughts drifting. She had captured many humans in the past, but none like this. None who looked at her without fear, None? Who spoke to her without trembling. His boldness was reckless, but it was also captivating. She hated herself for thinking it, yet she could not deny it. The path ahead was uncertain. Both knew they should see each other as enemies. Yet the spark of something else had already begun. A bond woven not by trust, not by peace, but by curiosity and the strange power of words that could turn even a warrior's cheeks red. And as they stepped into the deeper chambers of the alien base, the silence between them carried not only tension, but the weight of something new, something neither of them understood. The alien warrior led Daniel deeper into the outpost. The corridors were cracked and filled with smoke, strange alien symbols glowing faintly along the walls. Every step echoed with tension. Her spear stayed in her hand, though no enemy lurked. Nearby, it was clear she was not only guarding him, she was guarding herself from something she could not explain. Daniel walked a few steps behind her, his hands loose at his sides. He could have tried to escape, but something told him she would catch him in an instant. And truthfully, he did not want to run. Curiosity anchored him to her presence. He wanted to see where this strange encounter would lead. They entered a chamber filled with glowing crystals and shattered equipment. It seemed to be both a command room and a sanctuary. The warrior turned sharply, pointing her spear toward him again. "Sit," she ordered. Her cheeks still carried a faint blush, though her voice tried to sound commanding. Daniel raised his hands in mock surrender and sat on a broken metal block. "So am I your prisoner, or your guest?" he asked. His tone light, but his eyes serious, her lips pressed into a thin line. She hesitated before answering. "You are my prisoner," she said firmly. Then, almost too quietly, she added, "For now." Daniel smirked. "That almost sounds like I might earn an upgrade." Her eyes narrowed. "Do not test my patience, human." Yet the heat in her cheeks betrayed her. She turned away quickly, pretending to check a console. The silence stretched between them. The hum of broken machines filled the air. Daniel leaned back slightly, studying her. She was unlike any alien he had ever seen. Her armor clung to her tall form, her movements precise yet restless. She was powerful, but her emotions betrayed her strength. Finally, she turned back to him. "Why do you speak so freely?" she asked. Her tone carried genuine confusion. "Do you not fear death, Daniel?" Met her gaze without hesitation. "Of course I do," he said. "But fear doesn't control me, and besides," he added with a half grin, "if I only have a little time left, I'd rather spend it making you blush than begging for mercy." Her cheeks burned again. She clenched her fists, struggling to hide her reaction. His words struck her like arrows. She wanted to slap him once more, yet her hand would not move. Instead, her heart raced. "You are reckless," she hissed. "Reckless and foolish. Maybe," Daniel replied calmly, "but maybe it's working." She turned away sharply, but her mind was in chaos. Never before had an enemy spoken to her like this. Her own people bowed before her rank, feared her strength, admired her beauty in silence. Yet this human dared to speak aloud what others only whispered, and it shook her to her core. The hours passed slowly. Daniel remained seated, watching as she moved about the chamber, repairing devices, checking systems. Every time her eyes landed on him, she looked away too quickly. Every time he caught her glance, he smiled knowingly. At one point, he broke the silence. "You haven't killed me yet," he said softly. "Maybe I'm not just your prisoner." She froze, his words sinking deep. He was right. She could have ended him the moment they met, but something held her back. Something she refused to name. She finally answered, "Perhaps I keep you alive to study you." Daniel chuckled. "Then I hope I'm a good subject." Her face flushed again, but this time she did not snap at him. Instead, she watched him quietly. The human's eyes carried no fear, only curiosity and a strange warmth that unsettled her. He made her question herself, and that was more dangerous than any weapon. When night fell across the ruined base, she allowed him a corner to rest. She sat nearby, her spear across her lap, keeping her gaze on him as if studying every move. Daniel lay back against the wall, his eyes half closed. "If I'm your prisoner," he said softly, "then this is the best prison I've ever been in." Her lips parted, but no words came. She turned her head quickly, hiding the warmth in her face. His boldness infuriated her, yet it also made her chest feel heavy. She hated it. But she could not stop it. In the silence of the ruined outpost, the line between prisoner and guest blurred. He was alive because she allowed it, but also because she wanted it. And though she told herself it was for control, deep inside she knew it was something else, something dangerous. As Daniel drifted into sleep, he whispered to himself, "Prisoner or guest? Maybe I'm both." The alien warrior heard his words. And though she clenched her spear tighter, her heart betrayed her with a single truth. She no longer saw him as only an enemy. The alien warrior had not slept all night. She sat with her spear across her lap, her glowing eyes fixed on the human resting against the wall. His chest rose and fell steadily, his face calm even in sleep. He looked vulnerable, yet there was strength in that calmness. It unsettled her. She told herself she watched him because he was her prisoner, but deep inside she knew it was something else. When dawn broke, Daniel stirred and opened his eyes. He stretched slowly, smiling when he noticed her still watching. "You didn't sleep at all," he said softly. She frowned. "Warriors do not need much rest," she replied quickly. Daniel tilted his head. "Or maybe you just didn't want to stop staring." Her cheeks burned instantly. She gripped her spear tightly. "Silence, human," she snapped, but her voice lacked the sharp edge it once carried. He only smiled wider. Later that day, the silence between them was broken by an alarm echoing through the base. A squad of hostile soldiers stormed into the Tue chamber, their weapons raised. Their leader shouted in her language, demanding that she hand over the human. Daniel braced himself, expecting her to betray him. After all, he was just a prisoner. But then something unexpected happened. The alien warrior moved before he could react. Her spear struck like lightning, disarming the first soldier who aimed at Daniel. She spun with deadly precision, knocking back two more. Her voice thundered through the chamber. "He is mine." Daniel stared in shock. She was not defending her people. She was defending him. Her spear moved with terrifying grace. Her enemies fell one by one. Within minutes, room was silent again. Bodies scattered across the floor. Her chest heaved, her eyes blazing with fury and something else, something protective. Daniel rose slowly, still stunned. "You saved me," he whispered. She turned sharply, her blush returning even as blood stained her armor. "Do not misunderstand," she said, her tone harsh. "You are my prisoner. Only I decide your fate." But her words did not match her actions. Daniel stepped closer, his eyes steady on hers. "If I'm just your prisoner, then why risk your life for me?" he asked softly. Her breath caught. Her grip on her spear trembled. She had no answer. She turned away quickly, hiding her face. Rest of the day passed in uneasy silence. She avoided his gaze, focusing instead on repairing broken consoles. But Daniel could see the change. The cracks in her armor were showing. She was no longer only the fearsome warrior who had slapped him. She was someone torn between pride and emotions she could not control. That evening, Daniel broke the silence. "Back there, when they attacked, you didn't hesitate," he said gently. "You protected me." She looked up, her eyes sharp. "I acted out of instinct," she muttered. "Nothing more." Daniel smiled faintly. "Instinct tells the truth better than words." Her chest tightened. She wanted to deny it, but his words struck deep. He spoke with honesty, and she could not shield herself from it. Her heart betrayed her with every beat. Night came, and the two of them sat near the flickering light of a damaged console. For the first time, she set her spear aside. Daniel noticed, his eyes softening. "You trust me enough to lower your guard," he said. She glanced at him, her cheeks warming. "Do not think too much of it," she whispered. Daniel leaned back, his smile calm. "I don't need to think too much. I can already see the truth." She turned away, hiding the blush that spread across her face. She hated how his words pierced her, yet she could not stop listening. For hours they sat together in silence, yet it was not the silence of enemies. It was something else, heavier, warmer, dangerous. Both of them felt it, neither dared to say it. As the night grew darker, she whispered to herself in her language, words Daniel could not understand. But the look in her eyes as she watched him told more than any translation. She was afraid not of him, but of what he was doing to her heart. Daniel closed his eyes, resting, but his thoughts were clear. The cracks in her armor were real, and through those cracks something unexpected was growing.